Alright, what's going on, you guys? Brian here with a quick recap of what went down on tonight's episodes of AEW Dark and NXT. So let's just get into it. On AEW Dark, we had a Darby Allin promo talking about Jungle Boy, who he will be defending the TNT Championship against tomorrow night on Dynamite. We also saw Joey Janela pick up a win. SCU were victorious. Kylan King and Big Swole were victorious as well. We heard from Ricky Starks in a video talking about his opponent tomorrow night on Dynamite, Hangman Adam Page. We saw the Butcher and the Blade in tag team action. They were victorious. We had a Cesar Bononi, Ryan Nemeth, and J.D. Drake vignette. We saw the Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss, pick up a win on Dark. Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and Dark Order 10, they were victorious in trios action. Billy Gunn, he picked up a win. Dante Martin of Top Flight was victorious. Diamante picked up a victory. Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr., the Varsity Blondes, were victorious in tag action. Max Caster of the Acclaimed, he was victorious over Allen 5 Angels of the Dark Order. Powerhouse Hobbs was victorious, sending a message to Christian Cage, who he'll be facing tomorrow night on Dynamite. And in the main event of this week's episode of AEW Dark, Pac picking up a dominant win. So that was pretty much it for AEW Dark. Over on NXT, we heard from Kyle O'Reilly, who cut a promo, which would be interrupted by Cameron Grimes. One thing led to another, and we would get a match between Cameron Grimes and Kyle O'Reilly in the main event of tonight's episode of NXT. We had the arrival of NXT's newest signee, Saray, who they showed a video of earlier in the day arriving to the Capitol Wrestling Center, where she would meet with General Manager William Regal, as well as find out who her opponent was going to be for tonight's episode, and that would be one Zoe Starks, who introduced herself and wanted this opportunity to face Saray in the ring. We heard from LA Knight ahead of his match against Dexter Lumis. LA Knight was victorious over Dexter Lumis when Dexter got distracted by Indy Hartwell of The Way, who has an infatuation with Dexter. We heard from Leon Ruff talking about Isaiah Swerve Scott. We heard from Io Shirai in her first interview since losing the NXT Women's Championship to Raquel Gonzalez at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1. That interview would be interrupted by Frankie Monet. Then we had the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson, defeating Breezango. We had an interview with The Way that would start out with Indy Hartwell being interviewed, but then that would be cut off by Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, and Austin Theory. Then Bronson Reed would enter the picture, and he would basically say that he still has his sights set on the NXT North American Championship. Then Austin Theory would inform him that he spoke with General Manager William Regal, and that if Bronson Reed wants a shot at the North American Championship and Johnny Gargano, that he's got to beat Austin Theory next week, which obviously did not make Johnny Gargano very happy. So next week, Bronson Reed faces Austin Theory, and if Bronson Reed wins, then he gets a future opportunity at the NXT North American Championship. We had a Cameron Grimes interview where he had bidded on he put a bid on something. He got a letter saying that they appreciate his bid, but but someone else put a higher bid in, and here come to turn out that it was Ted DiBiase. And according to rumors that supposedly DiBiase is going to be doing something with Cameron Grimes in NXT. Oh, man. So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Then we had Saray victorious in her NXT debut over Zoe Starks. Afterwards, Zoe Starks would be attacked by Toni Storm, who Zoe had beat at, I believe it was on the pre-show of Night 1 of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. We heard from Dakota Kai and the NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez. We had a backstage segment involving Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Shotzi Blackheart, and Ember Moon, the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. That would end with Shotzi and Ember Moon dragging Candice into a room and beat her up, and just basically beat her down. We had Kushida, the new NXT Cruiserweight Champion. He made a successful title defense tonight on NXT, defeating Oney Lorcan. Of course, Kushida defeated Santos Escobar last week to become the new Cruiserweight Champion, and he issued an open challenge on tonight's episode, and Oney Lorcan answered, and Kushida was victorious with the hoverboard lock submission. Afterwards, Legado del Fantasma, that being Santos Escobar, Raul Mendoza, and Joaquin Wilde, they would come down, or Santos Escobar would come down, and Wilde and Mendoza would come from the blind side, from behind, and go after Kushida. They thought they had the advantage until the NXT Tag Team Champions, MSK, made the save, and because of this, a huge six-man tag was made for next week. Kushida and the NXT Tag Team Champions, MSK, take on Legado del Fantasma in a six-man tag. That along with Bronson Reed and Austin Theory. And then in another match that we would find out because of a promo done by Mercedes Martinez, where Martinez basically threatened to take out Dakota Kai. That match was made as well for next week. Dakota Kai taking on Mercedes Martinez, who basically wants the NXT Women's title, and she wants the NXT Women's Champion, Raquel Gonzalez, and she feels that if she takes out Dakota Kai, that she'll get Raquel Gonzalez. We had a backstage segment involving The Way, where Candice LeRae would walk into the room, obviously still feeling the effects of the beatdown by Shotzi and Ember Moon. She walked in when Johnny Gargano was wondering why Austin Theory went to General Manager Regal and wanted this match against Bronson Reed next week. Then here comes Indy Hartwell in. She basically says that she saw Dexter and that she ran into General Manager Regal, and she got her and Candice a women's tag team title match against Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. So that was pretty much it for that. Then we had Imperium defeating Everrise. During this match, a confrontation between Killian Dane and Alexander Wolf would happen on the outside of the ring. Not a fighting confrontation, but a bit of words. Then Killian Dane's tag team partner Drake Maverick would come out and hit Alexander Wolf, and then Killian Dane would basically carry Drake Maverick away. So a lot of history between Wolf and Dane going back to their days in Sanity with Eric Young and Nikki Cross before that group was just just basically dismantled. Then in the main event, it was Kyle O'Reilly defeating Cameron Grimes. and what I thought was a pretty good match. So that pretty much wraps up that tonight's episode of NXT. Um, Pretty much, I mean, there were a couple of good matches on NXT. AEW Dark was okay. I think on NXT the only two good matches that I thought were good were Saray and Zoe Starks and the main event. So yeah, that was pretty much it. My thoughts, like I said, I thought both shows were okay. AEW Dark is, it is what it is. It's just basically the main people in the company picking up wins over jobbers, and on NXT there was only maybe two good matches in my opinion. The main event between Grimes and O'Reilly, and the women's match Saray versus Zoe Starks. So that pretty much wraps this video up. If you guys watched tonight's episodes of AEW Dark and NXT, let me know what you guys thought of them. This has been my recaps of AEW Dark and NXT for tonight's episodes. As always, I am Brian, and I will see you next time. See ya.